Hi there, it's Pete from Hermitage Road. Welcome back out to the loft. This is part 2 of my short trains video series, and this time it's Scotland. I did investigate East Anglia and also the Midlands and the north of England, but I haven't found much in the way of short trains up there. They tend to be longer. But what I'm going to bring into view is this was spotted near Georgemas Junction in the early 80s. And what you're going to see is a Class 26. There it is, comes into view with only 2 coaches on it, which is qualifies as short by any means of the description. I'll just pan round so you can see it. This is one of the 26s that I believe it was at Inverness Depot. It's got the Highland Stag logo on it in yellow and black, and only 2 coaches marked in ScotRail livery, ScotRail blue grey, not the later one, and they're both marked 1s, and this certainly is a very short train. So I'm going to drive that from view a minute. These short trains in Scotland were certainly around in the days before the 156s and 158s took over in the later 80s. Now, something else I found was this. Now, pulling into view, it's Class 20. They were used quite extensively on passenger trains, but only in the summer for obvious reasons, no steam heating. And this one was near Fort William, and it's also got one of the strange things they seem to do at Scotland of putting a brake coach in the middle of the rake of coaches. I still haven't found out why, but the other odd thing is on the back of it are 2 rail freight vans. Now, Scotland was one of the last places, if not the last place in Britain, to run mixed trains. So you can see that there. And although it's a mixed train, I think it qualifies as being a short train. So I'm going to pull that out of view. By the way, I've got a few Scottish 37s scattered about in the depots tonight to add a bit of atmosphere. Now, in the early 80s, Scotland's railways were run in the Highlands basically by Class 26s and Class 27s. But gradually, the 27s were withdrawn and the 26s were repurposed for freight work, particularly in the 5 coal fields around Motherwell and places like that. And what was brought in to replace them was the Class 37s. Now, at the start, they were like the one in poking out the shed. That's a 37 naught with steam heat. And later on, these were replaced by the 37 4s, which had electric chain heating and allowed more modern coaching stock to be used. But they still got used on other things. So I'm going to bring this one into view. I think you can hear it making its usual tractor noise, and it's going to come past the shed in a minute. This is another one that I found a photo of. I can't actually remember where it was, but there's the Class 37, and I'm aware this is one of the Welsh ones that eventually got sent to Scotland. There it is, pulling into the station, and the 37 4 is just pulling 3 coaches, 2 opens and a brake. But on the back is 1 TTA wagon. Again, this goes with the mixed traffic element, mixed trains, which is certainly unusual. I'll move it onto there. I haven't been able to make this too long a video because, as I said, I struggled to find short trains in Scotland. I'm sure there are far more of them than I've found, but I didn't want to put anything that I don't have a photograph or video of. So these might give you some inspiration for your layouts. Certainly the mixed traffic element with an odd wagon stuffed on there, or a TTA or something like that, is something you can use on your layout. It isn't confined to just being passenger or just being freight. But it's only unfortunate it applies in Scotland. I don't know of any other areas of the country that did this. Sorry I couldn't do the rest of the country, but I really couldn't find many short trains in either East Anglia or places like that. Now, if you'd like to subscribe, share, give this video a like, it'll all help the channel. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to the channel, and it's much appreciated. And any comments are always welcome. I always answer all comments. And thank you very much for tonight's video. I'm sorry it's been a bit shaky, but I've had a few problems with the track. What I should have done was cleaned it first, but I didn't have time. I'll make sure I do that before the next video. So thank you everybody, and good night from Pete.